Every flash wall has one. A wolf. Teeth bared, tongue out, fur standing on end. It looks timeless, like it's always lived in tattooing. But it started out as a government ad. Today, we're tracing how a 1948 U.S. savings bond illustration became one of the most enduring designs in traditional tattooing, and why that wolf still stares back from flash sheets nearly 80 years later. Welcome to Skin and Story. In 1948, the U.S. Treasury Department needed to convince Americans to keep buying war bonds, even though the war was long over. They launched a national campaign warning that wolves were still at the door, symbols of greed, inflation, and really, financial danger. The message was clear: keep saving, keep buying bonds, or risk losing everything you'd worked for. And to drive that point home, an illustrator drew a snarling, full-body wolf, lean, muscular, and ready to attack. The caption read, "There's wolf poison in every U.S. savings bond you buy." It appeared everywhere, in newspapers, magazines, post offices across America. It was pure propaganda, but it was beautifully made. The artist knew how to capture motion, the twist in the spine, the snarl frozen mid-growl, the forward push of the predator about to strike. Like much propaganda, it was supposed to frighten people into saving money, but something about it hit differently. That power, that clarity, that sense of raw life, absolutely perfect tattoo language. Those same qualities caught the eye of Brooklyn Joe Lieber, a tattooer working out of New York in the late 1940s. Lieber came up during the golden age of American Flash, when tattooers were magpies for bold imagery. They pulled ideas from circus posters, from comic strips, pinups, calendars, even department store catalogs, dime novels, anything with strong lines, anything with emotion. To Lieber, that savings bond wolf was irresistible. It already had everything tattooing demands: big shapes, clean contrast, and a story told in one instant. So he did what tattooers have always done. He flipped it, he redrew it, and he made it his own. He mirrored the image left to right, he simplified the fur, he thickened the outlines, and he added the rich reds, blacks, and yellows that read so well on skin. There was no deep reinterpretation, no symbolic rewrite about good or evil. It was a perfect translation. Paper to flash, propaganda to art. Every proportion matched, right down to the angle of the snout and the curve of the tongue. He just turned the wolf around, and in that act of mirroring, made it completely new. It's easy to overlook what a small miracle that is. Lieber didn't need to invent the image. He simply recognized what was already there, a design made for the visual rhythm of tattooing. The original artist had drawn a wolf to scare the public. Lieber redrew that wolf to empower them. That's the moment when the image stopped serving the government and started serving the people wearing it. The reason the Lieber wolf hit so hard is that it carried all the storytelling DNA of the best traditional tattoos. It was symmetrical enough to read fast, wild enough to feel alive, and timeless enough to work on any body. Tattooing has always loved animals that fight, fly, or bite. Panthers, tigers, snakes, eagles. They all show movement and strength, and the wolf fit right in, but with a personality those other designs didn't have. A panther is pure aggression. An eagle stands for honor. But the wolf is both threat and family. It travels in a pack, but it also survives alone. That duality made it a perfect emblem for soldiers, bikers, and outsiders. And Lieber's version captured that perfectly. An animal that could look feral or noble, depending on how you saw it. That's why it spread so fast. The designs didn't just look good. It meant something. A few years later, Sailor Jerry Collins took the design one step further. Operating out of Honolulu, Jerry had a keen eye for what would work, what would read clean and strong on sailors' skin. He cropped Lieber's full-bodied wolf down to just the head. A snarl, nothing else. It was a practical decision. Full-body wolves took up too much room, too much space on a flash sheet, but a head, that could fit anywhere. It was direct, it was bold, and it became an instant classic. And really, that's when the design stopped being a borrowed image, and it became part of tattooing's core vocabulary. The wolf head could mean courage, it could mean danger, it could mean loyalty, defiance. It could sit next to a dagger or a heart or a woman's face, and it could still make sense. Jerry's simplified version gave it longevity. Now anyone could wear it, anywhere, and know it would hold its shape for life. And that's the genius of traditional tattoo design. It's about evolution, refining the image until it tells the story in as few lines as possible. And I'm going off script here a little bit, but talking about telling a story with as few lines as possible. Pablo Picasso did a study of a bull, and he started out with the most detailed study he could possibly make. And over a course of time, he simplified it down to, I think it was 5 or 6 lines. And it's one of the most interesting studies I've ever seen in the art world. Let's get back to tattooing. By the mid-1950s, that same wolf was everywhere. You could find it on flash sheets from Norfolk to Ohio, from Cap Coleman's shop to Al Shifley's walls. It was everywhere. Each artist added their own spin. Sharper eyes, thicker fur, heavier blacks. But the bones of that 1948 ad stayed the same. That's the moment an image stops being someone's design and becomes part of the tradition itself. It's how tattooing builds lineage, not through ownership, but through repetition and respect. Each generation inherits an image, they redraw it, and it leaves a fingerprint behind. That's how you get continuity without stagnation. It's the living chain that connects Lieber's wolf to everyone that's been tattooed ever since. Over time, the meaning of the wolf shifted too. What started as a warning became a badge of independence. For sailors, it meant freedom and danger. For bikers, loyalty and survival. For collectors today, it can just mean love for the craft itself. The image works on every level. You can wear it because it looks tough, or because it reminds you that toughness isn't the same as cruelty. It's resilience with teeth. That's the subtle magic of traditional tattoo imagery. It looks simple, but it holds decades of layered meaning underneath. Each wearer brings their own story to it. That's what keeps it alive. And it's still alive today. Every new generation redraws the wolf. Some keep the classic pose. Some keep the classic pose. Some exaggerate the eyes. Others turn it almost cartoonish. A kind of homage through reinvention. But the same snarl from that 1948 image runs through all of them. You can see it in the mouth, the tilt of the ears, the tongue slicing across the teeth. That energy is still there, vibrating under the skin. It's incredible to think that a war bond ad, a tool of post-war marketing, became one of the longest living designs in tattooing. That a piece of propaganda became one of the longest living designs in tattooing. It says a lot about the art form itself. Tattooing takes what the world gives it. Posters, ads, cartoons, sheet music, propaganda, dime ads, and it turns it into something defiant, personal, and more importantly, human. That meaning changes for everyone that gets it tattooed, but the power stays. When I look at that wolf on a flash wall, I don't see a relic. I see survival. The design has been copied, redrawn, and reinterpreted for generations, but it's never lost its bite. That's because it speaks to something universal. We all want to be seen as strong, but we also want to belong. That's the wolf's secret. It's fierce, but it's also loyal. It fights, but it protects the pack. And maybe that's why it lasted, when so many other designs faded away. Every tattooer who repaints it adds their own tone. A brighter red tongue, a darker shadow, a slightly different snarl. But the core remains the same. That's not just tradition. It's continuity. So the next time you walk into a shop and see that wolf staring back from the wall, remember where it came from. A post-war advertisement, redrawn by a tattooer, and kept alive by generations of tattooers who saw something more in it. It used to guard savings, now it guards stories. Because in tattooing, nothing ever dies. It just gets better lines. The legacy of traditional tattooing lives on our skin and in our stories. Thanks for being here.